What's up, party people in the house? It's Dynasty WarGames. What's up? I'm Jesse Schneeman, here with Mike Casper, Chad Mendoza. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, dude, it's good to be back. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I took my cadets to the cold and we suffered. Now it's like 80 and beautiful. So, no, it's just good. It's just good to be back. Missed talking football last week, but also had a good time out in the woods.
That's an oxymoron. I hate the woods. The
Hey,
woods
there's the army way to camp, and then there's like the right way to camp, like glamping.
yeah.
I'm all for the glamping, but
Camping to me is like it's like a courtyard by Marriott, like a hotel without room service. That's camping.
there you go. Yeah,
For me.
in the woods. What's up, Chad? How are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, just enjoying the combine and kind of getting excited about rookies and all that kind of stuff, just like everybody else, right? Like, that's watching this thing. So yeah,
Man, I had a blast watching that stuff last night. That was awesome.
Oh, me too. We were in the Patreon group chat, of course, like going crazy. Just message after message after message. If you're not in that thing, get in it now because this is the time.
All kinds of stuff going on. So, Mike, I know you haven't had a chance to catch up with too much of the numbers, so we're going to throw stuff out there and see how you feel about this.
Yeah, right? No, you'll get some real live reaction from me because I've been swamped with what we got going on in our program here and work. So,
Chad, what comes to your mind? Like, what's your first takeaway?
Well, I guess the big takeaway for me, and it's not something that I was like super surprised by, or at least not as surprised as a lot of other people, but just Treylon Burks, lack of the worldy combine that everybody thought he was going to have. It was pretty. I don't want to say average because for his size, it's still impressive. It was
pretty average.
He got good. Yeah.
He got out jumped by Matt Corral, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he got out jumped by Desmond Ridder, by quite a bit, actually.
Well, Desmond Ridder, we'll get to him. He tested very well. But still,
I just didn't expect it. It was kind of one of those things like I didn't expect the DK Metcalf combine that everybody was saying was going to happen. But I also didn't expect this.
So for reference, Mike, Treylon Burks ran a 4.55 40.
It's definitely not terrible, but
it's not terrible. But there were
fantastic either, right?
Yeah, people were saying he was going to run sub
4.4. People were talking about DK Metcalf kind of combine for him.
Yeah,
I think what did Metcalf run, like a 4.3
something?
4.33. Yeah, which is a massive. I mean, they're on different planets.
It's 0.2 of a second difference.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say I'm looking at his player profiler stuff. Yeah, he's only 48th percentile, 40-yard dash. Speed score was still 86. But burst score was 29th percentile. So yeah, nothing crazy.
That
still impressive at 225, but
yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was a good combine for what it was. It was just for what everybody was saying he was going to do. I think that's kind of where we're
not like locked in wide receiver one type of a.
He still comps to his numbers comp very well to AJ Brown. Actually, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's AJ Brown, but.
I mean, his numbers also comp to N'Keal Harry. So,
yeah.
I mean,
good point.
That doesn't mean much to me, at least.
Right. I mean, you have to have a different kind of attitude to be AJ Brown and to play the way he does.
Yeah. I mean, I still like Treylon Burks, of course. I mean, the combine doesn't do much for me, but he wasn't my wide receiver one to begin with. So, I don't know.
We'll get to who my wide receiver one is at this point. Might surprise you guys a little.
Okay. Yeah.
Go for it.
So my biggest takeaway about this Burks thing is people were expected him to work out like DK, but really Christian Watson did. So Christian Watson at 6'4", 208, he ran a 4.36. That's insane.
Wow.
For a 6'4" wide receiver to run 4.36 And then his vertical.
Are you sure it's 436? I'm seeing
I'm looking at it
428
right
on
now.
Player Profiler. Okay. All right, maybe they got it wrong then. Okay.
38.5-inch vertical for a 6'4" player. You know, that guy tested through the roof. I know it's small.
I wonder if Player Profile is updated because they did have a lot of problems with the unofficial. Yeah, okay. the time was off on the stopwatch, so there was like massive differences between the official and unofficial.
I'm looking at there were. I'm looking at NFL.com. They all have check marks next to them, so they're
gotcha. Yeah, well, his speed score and burst score were 99th percentile, 94th percentile. He kind of crushed it.
Yeah.
So
this Alec Pierce,
and he was a darling at the Senior Bowl too, right? From what I remember.
Yeah.
That's the first time I actually ever heard of him. You know, because obviously I don't have time for minor league football.
Minor league football.
Olave had a good combine. Really excited for him.
Olave killed it, and you know what? Olave, say it right. I'm not gonna say it weird. Yeah, Olave killed it with the speed. Not so much with the vertical though.
No. But just for the level of route runner that he is, the speed is. I mean, it was expected at least for people that watched him a decent amount, but it's still nice to see it.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson killed it with a 4.37 and a 36-inch vertical. Those are good numbers.
Are we thinking all these guys that we're talking about? I know Watson's probably not there right now, but Olave, Wilson, Burks, are we thinking their combines kind of solidified them in the first round, or do you think Burks has maybe fallen to the second round now, and
he might?
Watson's pushing up to the second or
I don't know. I don't know that Treylon Burks was a first round pick at any point. I don't know.
I think he will be. I think he will be a first round pick. I think in both rookie drafts and definitely rookie
drafts, like
Dynasty rookie drafts,
but too much,
but NFL draft, I'm gonna say he's a first round pick. I think he could fall later than people are thinking he's going to, and maybe the end of the first. But I think the odds are pretty good for him to still make it into the first. I mean, his tape just looks faster than what he tested. I don't understand it. Of course, like the last pod with Dallas, I was saying, I'll believe it when I see it as far as the DK comps with his athletic profile, but 4.55, like I don't, that's not what I saw. That's not what I saw when I watched him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll.
And I think his first one was actually the better of the two.
So I'm looking at, I guess, the running back stuff's going on right now. It looks like Breece Hall was one of the fastest RBs at 4.44 unofficial.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Is what I'm saying.
That should solidify some.
That might solidify, him as the RB1. I'm curious to see what Spiller's.
Yeah, I really want to see Spiller. I want to see him in the 3 cone too. Spiller. Because I expect he's got really good feet, right? So I expect Spiller to possibly do well in that drill, score high. So Chad, was there anyone just like watching it last night that stood out to you physically, just seeing them for the first time? You're like, whoa, that's what that guy looks like in underwear?
No, I mean, nobody that I didn't expect as far as the wide receivers go, but I did really, really, really like Jahan Dotson's his just kind of like on the field work. Like the
really catching drills.
Yeah, he looked really good. I loved how smooth he looked, and again, expected, right? But it's just seeing them without pads and just running around like that. You just really, really get a feel for who's like super, super smooth.
36-inch vertical is not too bad. He wasn't. What did he run? 4.44, 4.41. I thought he was going to be a little faster than that.
Yeah, I did too. I remember them saying on the telecast that he was pretty disappointed in the 40 and that he was going to run much faster on his pro day. So I don't know if something happened or maybe he just felt like he didn't really give it his best shot. But yeah, we'll see if that number improves markedly in the pro day. But I think he's faster than that.
4.43 is what it is officially. And then Sky Moore ran 4.41, which I thought he was going to be faster too.
So
yeah,
here's a
Sky
question.
Moore is another one that looked really good though on the
that's what I was sort of getting at. I'm sorry, we'll get to it in a second. But
No,
Sky
you're good.
Moore, man, that guy's got guns. That guy has absolute cannons for arms. And I didn't think he was that big, like physically thick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't realize he's going to muscle some guys around in the NFL.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he looked really good too. Like just on the field workouts,
yeah, I agree.
He looked the part.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he might have solidified himself as a second round pick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Mike?
No, I was just going to say I know we're talking a lot of 40 stuff and obviously not everything, but Kyron Williams, I feel like was around the RB 4.5 range. Dude ran a 4.7.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's
some of the criticism that I've heard about him is that he doesn't have breakaway speed and he gets caught from behind. He's just, for a little guy, he should break, he should break long
not
runs.
Even 200 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting him to run slow, but 4.7 is a little bit slower than I was thinking. That's not a good time for him.
Yeah, no,
that's gonna be rough.
Sure. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, or anything you got from the tight ends, Jesse, that you kind of want to comment
on? Sorry, I'm looking at the running backs real quick. Breece Hall 4.39.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On NFL.com.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Kenneth
Is
Walker.
It official? Is it official?
Walker was fast too.
Yeah, it's got the check mark next to him. So I assume that means official. Kenny Walker 4.38. I didn't think he was anywhere near that fast. Wow. I'm looking for Spiller.
I don't think Spiller ran.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Maybe he hasn't run yet.
Maybe.
Wow. Rashad White 4.48. Jerome Ford 4.46. I thought he was going to run faster than that. I thought he was supposed to be a speed back.
Yeah, I mean 4.46 still a good. It's a good.
That's still pretty.
It's a good 40. I mean some people just run the 40 better than other players. Some players are just faster.
That's true.
In the game than they are.
That's true. The 40 isn't just a true measurement of what a player's speed is. It's just kind of a snapshot.
Yeah, so I mean, some of these guys have run track in high school and they're just used to it. But not saying they shouldn't be prepared for this by now. But
so Spiller didn't compete in the 40 or the bench press, just so you're tracking. Which I wonder why.
Is he hurt?
He seems like the only one that didn't. No, not that I'm tracking. Kind of disappointing.
Well, with the tight ends, Chad. Sorry to get back. Anyway, to get back to your question, the top three guys didn't run, did they?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So there's nothing. I didn't see anything. Because Wiedermeyer, Trey McBride, and Isaiah Likely didn't compete. So
yeah, I mean the Maryland kid though. I mean he looked good.
Okonkwo.
Yeah, Okonkwo. That's yep. Yeah, he looked good. And I think he ran really fast. I don't remember what his time was off the top of my head, but
4.52.
Okay.
Which is that's really good for it.
Yeah, I mean I think he's like 250, 260 or something like that. So that's fast. That's blazing.
Dulcich. I think it's Dulcich. Dulcich. From UCLA ran a 4.69.
Yeah.
Let's see what their verts were. Oh, Isaiah Likely did jump at least. He had a 36-inch vertical. Okonkwo at 35.5.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Dulcich 34. Oh, McBride jumped. He had 33-inch vertical. Is Wiedermeyer there at the combine? Do we know?
I don't know. I don't know if he. I don't remember. I was in and out during the tight end, so I don't know if he did on the field workouts or not.
I actually didn't get a chance to see the tight ends, so
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I
So
think it's a pretty uninspiring group overall, anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it should be there's always going to be a guy that comes out and is an NFL starter. I mean, I think there
Yeah.
are some NFL starters in there. So
Yeah, but I think we never know who that guy is.
yeah, no, we don't. Yeah. So, do you guys want to move into the trades or?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's kind of transition.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I think guys sort of just solidified their draft position. Olave is not my number one wide receiver in this class, by the way. Let's end that suspense. I have the 2 Ohio State guys, 1, 2. A little scared about Drake London from things I heard Greg Cosell say. He called him a finesse player. Just says not physical enough, doesn't attack the ball at the catch point. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do my own. I'm gonna have to watch
Drake London's my number 1 still.
Is he? Okay.
And then Chris Olave is my number 2. But yeah,
I like Olave, then Wilson, and then after that's a little muddy. Not sure if it's Burks or London. And then after that, I don't know. David Bell tested like shit. That's the other thing we have to go over real quick. What do you run? 4.66 with a 33-inch vert.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't good, but at the end of the day, we're just gonna have to see where they land, and
just keep your ear to the floor, right? For some of these draft podcasts. I know people crap on them for horrible takes, but I feel like, especially with like the ESPN guys, I feel like more of their takes come from what they hear from teams.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
for
what
sure.
they actually believe, right? Which
right.
I kind of wasn't tracking last time I listened to him. I'm like, oh, I think he's just trying to be hot takey with some guys that he loves. But they definitely, when they talk about their mock drafts, they're like, we take into evaluation what we hear from teams.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably some of the more in the know folks. So
interesting
to see what happens. See if some of these scores make them talk and pushing these guys up, because maybe that's what teams are thinking too. But at the end of the day, like, let's see what happens on draft night, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you always hear. A lot of these, the real NFL guys, they're always coming out and saying, these mock drafts are not what I would do if I were them. It's what I think they're going to do, and some of that comes from insider information. So, exactly, it is definitely something to pay attention to. So, cool. Good point, Mike.
Gotta keep them on track.
I love it. Steve Gambino's in chat trolling y'all.
Oh, yeah, we're not. I was ignoring it.
We won't
let's
trades.
Go Sixers.
Championship, baby.
Yeah, let's move on to trades here.
There's no greater human on the planet than James Harden. But also, moving on. Also, I want to welcome our Aussie friend, Pat Villanova.
You got to practice that next time. All right, let's go.
Jesse's only 20 minutes in, you guys. Okay.
What do you wait? Let's go over what we're drinking here tonight, Chad. What are you drinking?
Absolutely nothing.
Gosh, again?
That's 2 in a row.
What are you doing?
Again.
Okay. So this is my favorite. I'm drinking Green Edition Dragon Fruit Red Bull. Delicious.
It's disgusting, Mike.
Oh, it's so good.
Horrendous.
So good.
I can't drink Red Bull, man. That stuff makes me feel like my hair's growing. I can't.
It's like a carbonated, liquefied lollipop. It's so
it's not that bad. It's like rain, and those ones are like liquefied. Ugh. But anyways.
Well, I have here Allagash White. It's a Belgian white from Allagash, which is a Portland, Maine brewery. Absolutely delicious.
Nice.
I know it's going to disappoint Dave Donaldson. He's used to my Truly. All right. So let's move on to some trades. Let's I guess we're just kind of going to go through some trades that we've seen go down and talk about the player values and what we would have done, I guess, or what we think about it, right?
Yeah.
So we have one here that I thought was very interesting. It was Dalvin Cook Madison, and the 312 for Saquon and the 203. What do you guys think of that? Chad, what do you think about that?
Say the trade one more time.
Being the resident Giants fan, it's Dalvin, Alexander Madison, and 312 for Barkley and 203.
Oh man, I'm taking Barkley.
Are you really?
I'm taking Barkley in the 203. Yeah, I think this class is really deep at wide receiver. I think you can get a guy who could be a you could say pretty reasonably has a decent shot at being a starting caliber player.
Yeah, I agree.
In the NFL.
203. I agree with that. And
Saquon. I mean, I don't know. Like Dalvin's one injury from being gone. Madison is. Who knows if they're going to pay him? Have they anything come out about that?
Is he a free agent right now?
Who? I think he's in his last. Going to be in his last year, right?
Probably.
See, yeah. Well, that's why I lean Dalvin's side, is because Alexander Madison is such a perfect handcuff that just jumps in and 100 yards and a touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean they've got to pay him. They've got to pay him. And
this is last year.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with him? He could be a great handcuff next year. He could be,
or he could move on to another team and you can have two starting running backs.
I mean, yeah, but I'd rather have the 203 than risk Alexander Madison finding a starting position or workhorse position in another.
It's probably not likely.
Yeah, I just feel like there's too many RBs coming out of the draft for him to really get a starting job somewhere.
Nobody's gonna pay him to be a starting running back for them. A premier running back. He just doesn't have the accolades. He doesn't have the.
Yeah, he looked damn good last year, but that's an uphill battle. He'd have to sign somewhere on kind of a modest deal and then beat somebody out. I don't know. If Atlanta doesn't draft a guy, that'd be or Miami. There's teams that need running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a big if. I'm not like banking on that when I'm trading, when I'm making a trade between Dalvin and Saquon. I'm not saying, Alexander Madison could be,
Okay, but you could easily whiff on that 203 too.
You could also move up from that 203. Like I feel like it gives you lots of options come draft
or trade that 203 away.
For another contending piece.
Up until you make that pick, the 203 is what it is. The 203, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's going to get excited. They're going to find their Elijah Moore of this class, and
maybe you get a 23 or 24 first for that.
Exactly. Yeah. You can flip that 23 or 22 pick for
I mean, I'm in a huge rebuild, and I just moved the 201 for 24 first. So
I saw that.
I was happy about that.
Yeah.
So
okay, all right.
I agree. I like the Saquon side. Same reasons.
All right. I think you guys have convinced me.
But
I love both of those running backs. I'd love to have either one. And Barkley is a year younger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Speaking of Barkley, what do you think about the rumors, Chad, of him forward to get traded? Which is funny because remember a couple episodes ago you said like, what is a kind of fantasy changing trade you'd like to see? And I know Barkley was one of the ones I mentioned. So
he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
It would have to be a 1-year rental, right? And then
they're not trading him for a fourth. Why would they do that?
If they don't plan on re-signing him, why not?
Because it doesn't.
That doesn't make any sense. Because
it doesn't.
If they don't plan on signing him, then why not?
No. Well, if I have Saquon Barkley, right, who is on his day without injury, a premier talent in the NFL, no matter what, just on principle, I'm not letting him go for a fourth. He's going to stay on my roster, and I'm going to see if he can put an injury-free season together, and be the player that we think he can be.
And then reevaluate.
And that's worth the fourth in itself. Like
it's worth more than a fourth. Like with a fourth round draft pick, the way NFL teams, the way GMs look at that is you're hoping to get a good backup. You're hoping to get a good backup. If the pick works out, you got a good backup, right? You don't trade Saquon Barkley like he said.
It's also ammo. You move up to get another pick, right? I get it from the side of if you're not re-signing him. It's the same reason the Broncos moved Miller.
No,
they-
but that's no. That no.
Who Miller?
I don't.
Von Miller.
Oh.
I don't.
No,
understand.
not
Von
not
Miller's
for-
No,
33.
Chad, I'm sorry, but you have not convinced me. If they're not re-signing him and he starts playing well this year, why wouldn't they trade him?
And Mike Kinney makes a good point too. And I was thinking this too. The franchise for a running back is like 10 million. Who
Yeah,
cares?
it's nothing.
It's
It's
nothing.
nothing for premier.
You want to
players.
tag? You want to tag him for 10 million? Holy
No,
crap!
Mike.
Well,
Mike,
we'll
it's
see
not,
after
it's not
what
about,
kind of year he puts
it's
up.
not about signing. I mean, it's not about saying we're going to franchise tag him. It's give him another year and see what he can put together in his last year. That's worth the fourth. It's. I mean,
Yeah,
and
I'm
David
not. I'm not
David
saying trade him right
Donaldson's
now
saying-
before the season starts. That's not what I'm saying, Chad.
well, I mean,
And
that's what they're talking about here. Like, obviously, that. I mean, if he's healthy, week 14, some playoff team's going to pay more than a fourth for Saquon Barkley. That's what they're willing to pay right now, is what he's saying, which I don't necessarily even believe, because he's just saying random sources. It's that Dugard beat reporter or whatever. He's saying random sources have told me that they see him as worth a fourth round pick, which who's to say I'm not a team that wants Saquon Barkley going out there and saying, I would pay a fourth for him just to drive down the value. I mean,
Yeah, and I wouldn't do
I
that
don't
right
know.
now, like I said, before the season starts and stuff.
I'm
just saying, if you get mid-season, Barkley's been having a good year, but you're not planning on re-signing him, then wouldn't you try to get something for him?
yeah, not a fourth. I'm not
Yeah.
trading him for a fourth.
right now.
Even if you're not re-signing him, though, mid-season.
well,
No, I'm not.
okay. So listen,
So you just let him
anytime-
walk and get nothing.
Yes.
well,
I'd
makes
rather
no
I'd,
sense.
You don't get
I'd rather
nothing.
wait to
How
the
does that make
last minute.
sense?
I'd rather wait
Mike.
to the last minute, franchise tag him, try to trade him, than it's Saquon Barkley.
Mike, here's
It's-
the end game with Barkley, right? So if you can't re-sign him to a multi-year deal at something that something that you want to sign him at 7 to 9 million, another team is willing to pay more. Well, then you get an end of a third round compensatory pick anyway. So why do you want a fourth now?
And that's true too. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, this is my thing, right?
So
The
the NFL free agents
opportunity-
don't just walk for nothing if they're good. You get something for them. You know what I mean? I'm
And-
sorry. Go on, Chad.
I mean, it depends on the contract they get when they walk, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's Saquon.
so that has to be a contract. more
I
than you're
know,
willing to
Chad,
pay.
but Saquon Barkley hasn't done a lot in like 2 or 3 years.
But if he's right, but listen,
because of injuries, yeah, but
Yeah.
when he's healthy, he's a premier player. People know that in the league. It's not. I mean, he's gonna get a contract. He's not going to go.
and if
I
he
never said he
doesn't, then you
wouldn't.
re-sign him cheap. So if no team out there is willing to give him a contract that's going to net you a third round compensatory pick, then you sign him for that. You know what I mean? Then that
No,
means he's
someone
going
would
dirt cheap,
overpay
and you
for it.
re-sign
No,
him.
someone would overpay for him. But if I was a team, I would rather pay money in free agency than pay a pick.
But then the Giants are getting a compensatory pick.
It depends on how much they pay him.
Right. So if no one's willing to pay him, then you bring him back. Follow what I mean? So either it's a win-win.
Yeah, like I said, it all depends, right? And it's the risk. So I'm just saying, don't let him walk.
Like we're not talking a second round pick. You're talking a fourth round pick where like 95% of fourth round picks are not going to pan out to be like even starting caliber players on your roster.
Just
It's
to
a
be
fourth
clear,
round
I've
pick.
never said they should.
Okay.
I'm just saying if you're like 2-9, by midseason, like.
That's a different story.
Are you going to
Trade
look
deadline
at?
is a different
I mean,
story.
obviously, it's hypothetical.
Yeah, I'm not
but
saying don't trade him. I'm just saying nobody's
gotcha.
trading him for a fourth round pick.
Gotcha.
It doesn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Also, ask yourself why this report came out and who it came from, right? It didn't come from Brian Dable or whoever. I don't remember who the GM's name that
Joe
they
Schoen,
From
hired.
Buffalo.
Okay. It didn't come from them.
Yeah.
They're not telling people that we want a fourth round pick.
no.
They're not
yeah,
telling
no.
people in
It was
the media
some.
that
It
we
was
want a
some
fourth round
team.
pick.
It was some team trying to drive down his value. saying-
Exactly.
yeah, I mean that's what it is. There's
It
no.
didn't come from Saquon either or his agent,
I'm just
Yeah,
ready to
it's-
see him
it's
all on the
ridiculous.
field healthy. Moving on.
It's ridiculous. It's
So
ridiculous.
actually, you guys did convince me, and that's rare. But yeah, I think I would take Saquon in that trade. I really think that last year was that injury was a fluke. Anybody can get stepped on.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
that sucked to watch. That
It
was
really
terrible.
did. Oh my God, I wanted to cry. But anyway, all right. So let's move on to another trade. This is Antonio Gibson, Nico Collins, and a first for Waddle and a second. Chad, why don't you go first? I mean, Mike, why don't you go first? You're muted. You're muted, Jerry. There you go.
Can you hear me, actually?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, I think something happened with my microphone. My 4-year-old playing with it. Palmer's on the Gibson side too, so I feel like that's worse.
Oh, well, I left him out because I thought
there's a lot of people that like Palmer.
Okay.
Yeah, so Palmer, Gibson, Nico, 109 for Waddle and a 24 second.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the Gibson side. I feel like you've got 2 flyer wide receivers that could really gain value in Nico and Palmer. I think Gibson's still really good running back. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying a lot's going to change, but I feel like he's been doing all right. Plus, you got the 109. And I'm just not crazy about Waddle. Like, I feel like he's kind of prime Jarvis Landry, I feel like, down there in Miami. So that and a 24 second, like, I'd rather take Gibson, the 2 wide receivers, and a late first.
Landry never had that speed.
What makes him prime Jarvis Landry?
He was just a target hog last year.
The usage.
Oh,
short. Yeah, how they use them. Short area target hog.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a different regime.
I'm not saying he doesn't have the skills to push it downfield. I'm saying that's
no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like even the skill set, right? Like if Waddle is catching a 5-yard slant, that's a lot different than Jarvis Landry catching a 5-yard slant. Waddle has home run ability on any given play. You know, he's one of the premier open field athletes in the league.
But yeah, he was. But Mike was talking more about how he was used last year.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, you know, just for context, it's a bit different. Like that's like saying,
also, it's a different regime. You know, it's a different coaching staff, so they'll use him differently. I mean,
and it might be better, it might be worse. Like, who knows?
And at Alabama, he was a deep threat. I mean, he was one of the best deep threats, and he was probably the best deep threat in college football, except for, I guess, Ruggs. And they were on the same team, you know. So it's kind of, I did not understand his usage last year. They love to run him. They love to run comebacks all day long with him. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you know, part of it is getting too comfortable, and also, you know,
Flores didn't trust Tua at all.
No, not at all. But anytime you can get the ball in Waddle's hand, no matter where it is on the field, that's what you want. Like he can break a play any given day, any given time, you know, on any given route. So I think that's just kind of what they were going for. Just, you know, play it safe and get the ball in his hand.
So what side of the trade are you on in this case, Chad?
It depends entirely on the picks for me. So not knowing the picks.
It's the 109. Yeah.
Oh, the 109. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the second?
2024.
24 second?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, you got to go with the Gibson side.
Yeah, I go with the package side too.
Yeah.
And I don't even like Gibson. You know, I don't hate him.
I don't like Gibson at all either.
But I don't think he's ever going to be what people want him to be. He's always going to be a share back and injury prone, in my opinion. You know, and I'm lukewarm on Nico Collins. I think he's a good flyer. I don't think Josh Palmer. I see him as like, I don't know. Is he any better? Is he better than Jalen Guyton? I don't think he is.
I mean, nobody knows what he is. Nobody knows what he is yet. I mean,
yeah, and
people are.
Yeah, we got to see what happens with this wide receiver class in the draft and free agency. The Chargers have more than enough money to bring someone in, like we talked about. So he could be dust soon, but who knows?
I like
last year a little bit,
and I like the 109 this year. I mean, you can get a quarterback there. You can get a starting quarterback there.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how the
we'll see.
I mean, so much is going to change, but
you can get and if you can't get a good starting quarterback there, that means he went earlier. And, like some of these Garrett Wilson, Kenny Walker, Isaiah Spiller could be falling down, to the 109. So,
yeah. So let me pose this question to you guys. What would you have to put to the Waddle side? Like, let's take that 24-second out of here, right? Let's pretend that doesn't exist. What would you add? What pick would you add to the Waddle side?
I'd want to
take the. If it's a 24 first for me,
I'd want to at least the 204 this year. No later. So
okay, yeah, that's about where I'm at.
I'd take a mid-second, yeah.
I'd take a mid-second, and I'd take the Waddle side. Yeah, that's about where I'm at too. Okay. Yeah. So I have actually, Mike, do you have a trade while I pull mine up?
Yeah, I mean, I have one that I made a couple weeks ago, and I'm curious to see because we all remember the infamous Clyde versus Mike Evans conversation of a year ago, so we won't discuss that. But I'm so off Clyde now. Like, to see his playoff usage and stuff was really depressing. So I was able
everyone is so off Clyde right now that I'm starting to get on him.
And that's why I feel like this is the best return I've seen, and I haven't seen anything close to it. But I got the 112 and the 207 for Clyde.
For Clyde Edwards?
Yeah, and I feel like that was
that's
a steal. Yeah,
that's stealing. Yeah, that's robbery. We won't even talk.
Like is even the 112? Like is that still?
No, that's too much. The 112 is too much.
Yeah.
It's too much for Clyde.
Agreed. I'm not giving the first.
That's so crazy. Oh man, that's so crazy.
Given
that's where we're at. I'm sure there's people out there that would rather have Clyde. I'm not one of them.
Given that he was outplayed by Darrell Williams last year, I don't think so. Can we talk about? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Chad's got one. Yeah,
Chad. Yeah, let's go with yours.
Actually, give me yours, Jesse.
Well, I want to talk about Amari Cooper's value. So, before and after today's news that he's likely to be released, which we've been hearing for months anyway.
Yeah.
So I saw he was traded for the 110, and this is just your regular super flex, 2 wide receivers. 3 or 4 flex.
Today?
No, this was last week.
Okay.
So that's what I saw. He was traded for the 110 in a 12-team super flex league. Would he go for that today? I guess is kind of my question.
I think that's about right.
Still,
but I don't think it changes much, honestly. I'm actually happy he's out of that offense. I don't think Amari Cooper's gonna let himself end up in a stagnant offense. I don't think that happens. He's not going to the Ravens or the Titans or somebody like that. I think he's going to want to go to a high-powered offense where he can get the ball and try to show that he's the high-end player that he thinks he is.
Yeah.
And I think there's some good teams out there. The
I have
Chargers are always a possibility. The Raiders are a possibility. Any of those teams, I'm cool.
I have a weird Patriots vibe with him, and I don't know why, but I feel like it's
I'd be fine.
I think it's a good fit, first of all. But secondly, I kind of feel like he's the kind of guy that could really flourish at this point in his career under Belichick.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good fit as well. I think there's enough good teams out there that need wide receivers.
Yeah,
where I'm like,
everybody needs wide receivers, even though there's a million of them, we still need them.
And the other thing to think about as well is I don't think the good teams are going to want to pay Amari Cooper with this draft class. I think that the bad teams with early picks,
right,
in the second round are going to say, you know what, we're not going to pay Amari Cooper when we don't have the team to compete. We're just going to go and draft some guys in this strong wide receiver class or this deep wide receiver class. And make that work. And a good team is going to go out there and pay Amari Cooper. That's just how I feel today when I'm thinking about it. So yeah, I like it. I think that offense is way too congested in Dallas. Dalton Schultz was getting so many targets. CeeDee Lamb's there, Gallup's there, Cooper was there. It was just too much. It's too much.
Yeah, it paves the way for them to bring back Schultz and Gallup, and their offense actually makes a lot more sense with those 3 players and Cooper not in the mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can actually quantify like each position. You actually know what role everybody's supposed to play. CD can finally move to the outside instead of running all of his routes out of the slot. And Gallup can be the stretch the field guy, and Dalton Schultz can work the middle of the field.
Yeah. I think with the Cowboys, I was probably in my head banking on him being anywhere from wide receiver 12 to wide receiver like 16, 18 at the end of next season. That's just where I have him in my head with how, potent that offense is, but at the same time, how congested it is. But now I think the possibilities are open. Like if he finds himself in the right situation, I think he could be wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no so we're both talking about what's rational and what we think should happen, what's the best thing for all parties. But that's not always what happens.
No, I'm just saying like with the possibility, I value that.
Jags.
Yeah. I'm just saying the possibility, I value that rather than because I think anywhere he goes, he's not going to be terrible. Like he's still going to be a startable dynasty asset. He's a good player.
Yeah. If he lands in a bad offense, though, his touchdown production will be capped.
I mean, I think he
like 4 touchdowns or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I see him as a premier athlete, still a premier asset in the league. I think he makes a bad offense better. And we've seen bad offenses still have wide receivers in it that eat.
I mean, he's a hell of a wide receiver. I actually would say he's a better wide receiver all around than Allen Robinson, and they're sort of similar players where they're big guys that can play the X, can also move around a little bit. But I think Amari Cooper just runs better routes and is more dynamic overall. Maybe doesn't have as good a hands, but I think
Amari Cooper has always been a better player than Allen Robinson.
Yeah. It's just early in his career he was a knucklehead and just had so many concentration drops. But he's cleaned that up though.
Hey, so just so you guys are tracking, kind of for some context, so his release probably won't happen until post June 1st. So that's when his dead cap's only $2 million. But yeah, I definitely just looking at his contract. Yeah, I could see it easily gone.
What they can do though is they can designate him as a post June 1st cut, and then he'll be free to negotiate. I think that's how it works.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know that just pushes more of the debt because it's $6 million dead cap either way, but it'll push it to the next year. So I think he'll tie himself to a good quarterback, though. I think he knows how important that is.
If he's smart.
Yeah. Does this do anything for Dak? Do you think? Because you think people are because right now he's just got Lamb technically. Lamb and Jarwin.
I think Gallup's good enough. But
Schultz and Gallup are free agents, so right. So
yeah.
They're
gonna have to pay them.
They're gonna cap. They're gonna tag Schultz if they have to. He's staying. Okay. I don't know that Gallup's staying. I think they're gonna make a run at it. And now if Cooper's not there, if I'm Gallup, maybe I want to stay. Maybe I take a little bit of a discount just to keep some continuity.
Yeah. I can see he's coming out the injury too, right? Was it ACL he tore late in the season?
But maybe that means
maybe they get him cheaper for that.
Yeah, that's true too. A lot of guys are afraid to move teams or can't move teams, after an injury like that.
The Juju effect, right? Like Juju is saying that he's going back to the Steelers, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with stuff he's hearing about around the league about him not playing again, or not playing well, or not playing. And he's not going to get the contract he wants to get, so he's going to sign another 1-year deal. I think it's going to be very similar with the Gallup situation, where nobody's going to want to pay a guy that hasn't taken the field first season, and before that wasn't a world beater either. So
yeah, I think Gallup's always been a good player.
For sure, yeah, he's good.
He was miscast his first year or two, because they had no wide receivers. Before they traded a first for Amari Cooper. Which, by the way, that's a hell of a bust of a trade for them. You trade your first round pick for Amari Cooper and then don't win a playoff game and then release him in his prime.
Yeah,
that's very poor management of your cap. And your draft assets.
That being said, do you guys mind because I had a debate with one of our Patreons, Austin, because of this Cooper possible release. What's the difference between Lamb and AJ Brown? dynasty wise in a vacuum? Like, do you
You're
feel
not
like
talking
they're-
about skill set.
No, I'm
'Cause
talking
they're
about
very
like
different players.
trading, right? So
Hmm.
trading value, right? Is AJ Brown a still top 5 dynasty wide receiver to you guys?
No, not in my opinion. He's not.
And where's Lamb at in comparison?
I'd rather have Lamb today.
By how much? Like what would it take you to move off of Lamb to get AJ Brown? What would have to be on the Brown side?
For me, it would be like a late second.
For me, it'd have to be early. For me, it'd have to be an early second.
I don't think there's a huge difference between the two production-wise.
Yeah, see, like, here's the thing. I'm gonna say, like, I would say it would probably take a 112, 201 to get me to trade out Lamb for AJ Brown, but I know that's unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
But that I just don't think as highly as everybody else on AJ Brown in that offense, and I think he's going to extend there. Like I think he's going to be there for a long time. I don't know. I don't see him ever being the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and I think Lamb. I think that's a possibility for him without Cooper in that offense.
Well, here's how I see AJ Brown. I don't really want him on a contending team. I like him for his value because he still has value. Even if it's not in Chad's eyes, I think a lot of people do have him as a wide receiver, top 5 dynasty wide receiver. In fact, just listening to the Dynasty Nerds the other day, they all have him up there. So I like AJ Brown for the value, right? So if I'm acquiring AJ Brown or the 1 or 2 teams that I have him, I'm probably acquiring him just to trade, right? And once we get in season up and he busts a long one, I'll probably just trade him. The problem I have with him is that I think he's a monster, but he is in a weird offense. And if things change in that offense, like if Derrick Henry goes down, we saw some production from him late in the year, but that whole a lot of his production is off of that play fake to Henry, right? It brings everybody up, and he has so much room, and then he just destroys people. So if that dynamic changes, I'm scared, because I just don't think that Tannehill is a good enough quarterback to really feed him the way you want it. You know what I mean? Like if without Derrick Henry or another dynamic running back that is going to make the defense react the way he does, AJ Brown isn't the elite player, elite dynasty player that he has been.
So he's go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Jed.
He's a weird one because
it's almost gimmicky, even though he's a great player. No, like because of the quarterback.
He's a very talented player, right? But
yeah.
If you tell me that he finishes in the top 5 wide receivers, I'm shocked, right? And if you tell me that he finishes outside of, early wide receiver 2, I'm shocked. I just think he's stuck in that realm of being a very back end wide receiver 1, which I think was his best finish, was wide receiver 12 since he's been in the league. And somewhere around 17, 18. I think that's where he's stuck because of just how that offense is run. And until we see otherwise, I don't see it changing anytime soon.
It's still, he's still a wide receiver 1 though. He's still not, he's still above the DJ Moores and McLaurins in the world, right?
For one season, yeah, he was.
No, I'm sorry. I guess that's how I see him. Is that how you see him?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather have him than any of those guys. Yeah. For sure. Because I think he's just a lot more talented than them. But yeah, it's just the offense is holding him back. If he was with the Chargers or with the Raiders or with, almost anybody else, then right. I'd probably be more excited about him. But
right, that's the problem. It's the the run first offense and Tannehill. That's what sucks.
Dave. So who do you have, Chad? Who would you have ahead of AJ Brown in Dynasty?
Oh, gosh.
Obviously Chase and Jefferson, right?
That's and Waddle for me.
And Waddle. Lamb, obviously.
Lamb. I would
Debo.
have Cup.
You have-
I would have Tyreek Hill. I would
Mhm.
have Debo.
Yes to all of them.
Adams or no? Adams or Brown?
You know who's the closest situation for me?
Yeah, Devontae Adams.
With
Well, no, not Devontae Adams.
no, I'd take AJ Brown before Devontae Adams,
Yeah.
just because
Because of the
So it's like
age.
around wide receiver 8. Yeah.
Yeah. I think him and DK are in a very similar boat to me, and I have DK slightly ahead of him.
Yeah.
But just because with the whole Russ situation in that offense, and it's just a mess, right? But
Yeah.
I think at least with DK, you have Russ is probably going to be back in Seattle. Like, we're all kidding ourselves with he's going to be traded. It's going to take a lot.
It would take an extraordinary series of events for him to actually get
He's
traded.
probably going to end up back in Seattle, and give me that any day over Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and AJ Brown situation that's going on over there in Tennessee.
I've switched.
Yeah.
I ran out of Allagash. I switched to Miller Lite.
No,
Dave
I didn't-
Donaldson drinking Allagash White tonight, my friend. Something decent. He's making fun of my cardigan, by the
of
way.
course. Yeah, I was gonna say he said it's a sweater. Definitely not a sweater. It's a cardigan.
Cardigan is a type of sweater, though.
It's a very different kind of sweater. But yeah, go for
Yeah.
it. No, I think I agree with what Chad was saying for the Lamb versus Brown debate. So I like it. It was good. I was just curious. I know, Chad, you had a trade you've been waiting on for a long time. We probably
Wait,
wrap it up.
So,
What?
Chad, are you gonna throw out the big one?
No, go ahead and do it. That'll be. We'll talk about that next.
Well, because before we do because I kind of wanted to end on that one. Do you have a different one besides that?
Yeah. Okay. So
let's do that.
How about
do
this
that
one?
then.
Cam Akers or a 23 first and a 23 second. The team who owns the first and the second are it's a really strong roster, so it's probably going to be a back end first and a back end second.
Akers. I want Akers. I love Akers.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're the favorite in the league. So I mean, let's just say anywhere from 107 to probably 10.
But they're getting Akers too, right? Is that what it is, or is it?
No, so it's
okay.
a 23 first and 23 second or Akers.
Yeah, I like Akers' side. He's worth probably 2 firsts.
I like the Akers side. I don't feel like Akers is worth 2 firsts right now because of his perceived value from the playoff run. But I also don't think he was at full health either. And I like Akers, so I would probably take the Akers side personally.
Yeah, and playoff football is not what you're going to get during the regular season. You're going to get much different production.
And he's coming off an Achilles, man. He's like one of the first ones to do it.
Yeah, and he looked great doing it too. I mean,
the line just wasn't blocking Cincy, so
there's just not a lot of room in the playoffs to run. There just isn't.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Chad? I think it's really close to me.
I think it's close. Yeah, I think
in
it's
a rebuild,
close.
I'm definitely, obviously taking the 23.
This is
Obviously,
actually a trade
it's
that I
close.
sent out today. This is a trade that I sent out today to actually get the first and the second. I think it's dead even for me, which is surprising because I thought during the season I was a lot higher on Akers than everybody else. But now it seems like the pendulum's kind of swung in Akers' value has skyrocketed.
I would see. All right, so if I'm looking to
I do also feel it's like impossible to get 23 firsts right now. I'm not sure how much luck
it's
you guys
really
had, but yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, you guys missed the boat on that.
Oh no, I didn't. I have
I'm sorry,
3 to
maybe
6
not.
in almost
Maybe
every
not
league.
either.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did that
I-
last year.
I've been
I did
trading
all
for
last
them all year.
Yeah,
I seriously, people were like didn't want to give me their 2022 firsts, but they would give me their 23 firsts. And I've been fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it's too late to get them though, because you're always up until
what's
time
draft
you
time?
make your pick with the 22
exactly.
First, you're going to be able to get the 23 first. That's just how it always is.
Donaldson just made a good point too, and I was about to say like Wentworth is going to retire.
Oh yeah,
and that Rams O line is going to change.
I think there's a bit of a gamble there still with Akers. I don't think it's the
Yeah.
gamble that everybody was saying it was, like, during the season with
because he came
careers
back
ended because of the
effectively.
Achilles.
Yeah, you never know if that's going to happen, or not.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things. Like, you still have to bet on the fact that is he the talent we all think he can be, number one, because we still don't know that answer, right? And then number two, with that team's offensive line getting older, is that something that we're looking at now and saying, okay, is this another? I mean, I doubt it's going to be as bad as the Giants were, but no matter who you have in the backfield, the offensive line has to be at least competent.
There's no way. There's no way that they let that offensive line fall apart. They will replace. They'll replace. They'll retool and they'll retool that line, and it'll be fine. I mean, with everything else that they have in place, they can really put all their resources into that. I mean, they need a couple defensive players too, and they're going to lose a safety and a corner in free agency, but they don't really need anything else on offense because I think O'Smell is going to re-sign there cheaply after the ACL.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think they can find a wide receiver. They have Van and they have Cooper until Woods and O'Smell are healthy. And that's kind of a cheap way to go with the weapons. So, I think they can put resources into their offensive line. And you don't need that. You don't need to draft guards and centers in the first round. They have second, third, fourth round picks. It's just the first that they're missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Just offensive line is probably the only position outside of tight end where I'm like, it doesn't matter how many resources you throw at it. Like, it still just has to work. Like, it's a tough position group to just cement and say, okay, if we throw $100 million on it this offseason, we know for sure it's going to work out.
Yeah, not everyone can have Jeff Stoutland as their offensive line coach.
The Chiefs did that, right? Because coming out of the playoffs last year was terrible. They made some trades. They paid some folks. It looked really good at the beginning of the season. But then even in the middle, some of it was questionable. So, it takes a while for them NFL.
That's today's NFL. Nobody dominates wire to wire anymore.
It doesn't. The offensive line rebuilds don't work out more often than they work out. No matter how much money you throw at it. You've got to get the right players and what's his name? Trent Williams is not a free agent every offseason. Nobody's letting those guys go. So you've got to find them yourself, and that's not easy to do. We've seen a ton of outside of this most recent tackle class, or the last couple tackle classes have been pretty good, but
this one's pretty good too.
Yeah, this one is good. But outside of the outliers that we've had, maybe a couple years ago, it's been historically difficult to do, is just what I'm saying.
All right, Jesse, close us out with this huge trade, man. Let's hear it.
All right. Before we do that, actually, can we just go with a little one real quick? I don't want to close out with that one yet.
Okay.
So because Nico Collins, I want to go back to Nico Collins and I want to explore his value a little bit. I'm going to do this a little bit for Brian Ford and Chad, but more just for everyone. So Nico Collins for Landry and the 312 in a Superflex 12 team IDP league, which makes that 312 pick relevant. Which side you got?
Probably Nico Collins.
Okay. Sure, Nico upside.
Upside.
Yeah.
What if Cooks is gone? I mean, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm just taking the shot on Nico and saying, maybe he's good.
312, but 312, you can get one of the top defensive players there.
You can get one of the top defensive players in the 12th round if you had 12 rounds. I mean,
right on.
It just depends on where they end up in the system. Blake Martinez doesn't get drafted in the first round coming out of a rookie draft, and he still racks up 150 tackles a year.
Not last year.
Well, he was hurt.
Yes, he was. All right, cool. All right, so Nico Collins, we're going upside on that one. Cool. All right, so
Big boy.
what I just want to establish that Nico Collins is a good enough flyer that we're taking him over a lower end, bench piece veteran.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is a banger that we're going to talk about here. So we're kind of exploring Kyle Pitts' value right now in a tight end premium, right? So this is a 12-team Superflex tight end premium. Chad, do you remember what the premium is exactly in this league?
I think it's just 0.5.
0.5. Okay, so not a huge premium. There's a little bit of filler that we're gonna take out in this trade, but so we're gonna go Michael Pittman, Cam Akers, the 104, and Logan Thomas for Kyle Pitts, the 210, and a 23 first.
Which will probably be a very late 23 first.
Right. Because this team, so for a little more context, this team getting the package is a top contender. Is definitely a top 4 team, I'll say. And they also have Kelsey and Freiermuth, so they can afford to trade away Pitts. Right. So let's do it again. So it's Logan Thomas, Michael Pittman, Akers, and the 104. So a high first this year for Pitts, the 210, and a first next year. So I'm sorry. Let me get your reactions, Mike.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like Logan Thomas as much as I think you might, Jesse. I
kind of see that as
last year.
Well, no, I kind of see that as a throw.
It's like a throw in.
I feel like it's a throw in. So I really see it as Pittman, Akers, 104,
and the 104
for what?
Let's just call it the 23 112.
Yeah. 23 112.
That's probably what it's going to end up being.
Yeah. And a 210. And the 210 this year.
And the 210,
so what are you getting with the 210?
Something tells me that's not enough for Pitt. Yeah, okay, David Donaldson says Pitt's side, but it feels wrong. So I wouldn't take the Pitt side, but I feel like you're supposed to get more. I almost feel like you shouldn't give up the 210 to get Pitts. I feel the 210 shouldn't be on the Pitt side. And then in that case, I think it's good. But in all honesty, I would rather take the 104 now, hold that and see what I'm able to do with it. Because I feel like even if you use that pick, it's going to be a really top tier player. And we already just talked about Akers. I'm not super high on Pittman, but he's still the number 1 there, right? I think he'll continue to ascend. So in all honesty, I would take the Akers Pittman side. But at the same time, I feel like it's really close.
The value is on the Pittman side, right? There's no question about it. The value is on the Pittman side. And I would say that the majority of the risk is on the Pitt side because there's more assets on the Akers Pittman 104 side.
And it only takes one of those assets to become elite.
Yeah. Whereas if Pitts does flame out, get an injury, you pretty much gave away a shit ton of players for. Because let's be honest, you're paying prime Kelsey prices without the production for Pitts right now.
Yeah,
in that trade. Because we haven't seen that production from Pitts yet. You're just assuming that you're going to get it, right? But at the same time, it's still tough giving up a guy that in a tight end premium league, where he could be the unicorn, right? The guy that's just impossible to get. So there's that element too. If I'm a competing team and I think I can win, and I'm fairly positive I'm the best team or the second best team, and neck with the first team, then I'm taking the Pittman Akers 104 side because you can flip that 104 during the draft for something that's also going to allow you to further compete and win this league.
Or you take, if an elite player is there, you take the elite player and run with it.
I mean,
Exactly.
it could be that second round running back that goes to the sweet spot, right at the 104, or that wide receiver that goes to the elites,
Right.
goes to the Chargers or something like that,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If Garrett Wilson goes to the right place, man,
Yeah. No, I think it is super fair. It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting with 23 first too, right? Because we're saying like back end team, but I mean, you never or high pick, but with how many RB injuries we had last offseason, stuff like that, like
that team could get
pushed
destroyed by injuries, and
Mhm.
that could end up being a mid, a mid to higher first. I look at it kind of like this. I think it's very even, right?
Yeah.
I look at it like this. That 104 is kind of worth that 23 first and the 210. I think
I disagree. I disagree completely.
You think the 104 is worth more?
There's no way. Yeah. There's no way that you have a 23, like let's just say 111, 112, and that's worth the 104. There's
actually, you know what?
You could say it's a QB1, the wide receiver 1, and the RB1 and 2. And
now that you say
4,
that,
right? So.
I was looking at it more in a vacuum as because I wasn't considering that as a late 23 first, and it is going to be. So I was thinking of it like a random 20.
Well, because we're not even you can't think about the 23 first as it is right now. You have to think about it after the trade, right? So right now, I would say that's a 112. Like if I'm just assuming, but after the trade, I definitely think it's a 112. Mm-hmm. That's just me. So I think you have to. If you're right about trading it away, you have to look at it after the trade and say, what is this after the trade?
So it's So, and I was going to say, is Michael Pittman and Cam Akers enough for Kyle Pitts? No, it's not. But when you consider the juice that you get from having the 104 and the fact that you can either get an elite player or you can trade, let's face it, you can trade that 104 for a near elite veteran, right? You might even get an older veteran like Devontae Adams.
You guys want to hear something nuts?
Yes.
Sure. Always.
2 years ago, I was trading the 110 away. This was during the what was the class after AJ Brown, Debo class?
It was the Dobbins Akers class.
Yeah. So the Dobbins Akers class, the Swift class. Okay. Yeah, the Jefferson class. I was trading away the 110 at that time for Aaron Jones. In multiple leagues.
But there were 5 running backs in that draft.
Yeah, but you weren't getting a running back at the 110.
You weren't getting a running back there.
Yeah, you weren't getting him at the 110, though, I guess. I don't know. I didn't do a super flex draft that league. I wasn't in super flex dynasty.
Yeah, you weren't. All the running backs were gone before 110. They were going, I think
the latest by 107, maybe. Yeah, 107,
107, 108.
I mean, in one QB, I was only playing one QB dynasty at that point. That was my second year of dynasty, and they all went. They went for the running backs went top 1 through 5.
Yeah. Revisionist history though, it probably worked out really well for the people I gave the pick to because that was around where Jefferson and Herbert was going.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Rager also went there. And so
I got a lot of Rager.
Let's not open that can of worms at the end of the show.
Yeah, I took Rager over CeeDee Lamb. It's one of the worst things I ever did.
You know what's crazy now that I'm thinking about it? Think about that class, in the back end of that class, right? You had so around that, let's go from 110 on. It was Herbert, Jefferson,
Pittman,
Rager, and then when you get into the second round, then it was Pittman, Higgins,
Ayuk,
Ayuk. Chenault was later in the second. He was 209, 210.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But still, he still got value. He still got second round. He still got that same late second round value, by the way. Even though he's not done a damn thing 2 years later, you can still get a late second.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Isn't it? I guess having Trevor, being tied to Trevor now, definitely.
Yeah, and Chark leaving,
up a little.
that also helps.
Yeah.
Peterson already
Well,
talked about this guy, I think so.
If Chark leaves.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, so, speaking of Rager, so I know you guys hate. No, I know you guys hate Eagles talk and blah 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 because I overdo it, but I actually have some good intel on the Eagles, like Dynasty.
Let's hear it.
So, Dougie Peterson is sniffing around a Rager trade right now, and from what I understand, if the Eagles can get a third rounder, they'll do it.
No way he's getting a third rounder for Rager.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's Dougie Peterson, and that guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
If I could sell my house for $2 million,
it's bulky. He doesn't know what he's doing either. Yeah.
So also, you can pretty much bank on Hurts being the quarterback for this year, and then in 23, then something could happen. But from what I understand, Watson and Russ are not coming to Philly. They don't want to come to Philly. It's not happening. It doesn't matter how much draft capital they have.
Yeah, I don't blame
them. Yeah, you're funny. Russ's wife, first of all, is not moving to the East Coast, and she owns him. That woman is a handful, as my wife always says.
I don't know. You say that, but she wanted to go, or they wanted to go to New York pretty bad. The reporter
not going to Philly. I promise you, they're not going to Philly. That's not happening, and they're not interested in Jimmy G. They're not interested in Cousins or any of the middling kind of quarterbacks that could be out there. They're not interested. They'd rather just keep Hurts and use their 3 picks. Although I will tell you that it's Howie Roseman, so they're definitely going to make a trade in the first round. But expect Hurts to be with the Eagles next year, to be their starting quarterback next year. And they're not going to bring in a young guy. It's not even on the table. Like, they're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. It's not even on the table.
Well, on that note, free agency starts in 12 days. So let's get ready for our free agency predictions, see if any of them come up. And yeah, I'm excited for it.
I have
ready to see what happens.
I have all of our landing spots written down. Although, we only went through a few. We should do another one.
We should do a couple maybe next week right before it starts.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let's do it.
Right on.
All right. Well, it's fun, guys.
Did we cover everything?
I think so.
I reckon.
Right on. This is a good episode. This is fun. We didn't play any games, but we got to just chop it up sometimes.
Hey, we talked the most important game, fantasy football.
That's right.
So lame.
Sorry. Trading is the game within the game, okay?
Well, I just want to say this to the audience that when we were planning this episode this week, it's not that we couldn't come up with a game. Trust me, we were plenty of games to play, and we have plenty on the slate. Yes. Ding dong. But we just really kind of missed our conversational episodes and just there's a lot going on right now, even though there isn't a lot going on right now. So we just sort of wanted to have an episode where we talked it out, chop it up a bit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we didn't play a game this week. Yeah, exactly. Just get back to being boys. I feel like always playing a game against each other makes us pissed off and adversarial towards each other.
Well, it might make you pissed off. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I like winning. Yeah,
I keep winning. So.
I don't like losing. I think that's the whole thing. I just kind of wanted to reconnect with my homies a little bit.
Jesse's like, can I not lose for a week? Just 1 week, please.
But let's not forget how we started this, right? And that's because I think we had a lot of positive interactions with each other in leagues, and we just kind of became boys right away. You know what I mean? Before we started competing against each other. So I wanted to get back to that a little bit. I think we all wanted to. Chad was definitely in favor. I could see that.
All right, guys.
For sure.
Time to drive.
All right, Mike. Captain Mike, be safe out there.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Chad, don't walk behind any horses.
All right, guys.